What you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and we are back and better than ever. What a busy week we had last week. Daniel Taylor delivered Azure Virtual Machines back up to URL, separation of duties. Our community roundtable occurred on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we released OpenAI SQL Server Managed Instance, Python, and Visual Studio Code to be able to unlock insights on your data. That was a lot of fun to produce. And then on Monday, Josh Ludeman released Setting Up Windows with Chocolatey for data developers. So much to do, so much to see. You don't want to miss a thing. So if this is your first time finding your way over to our channel, make sure and give us a like, give us a subscribe. And there are so many ways to be able to interact with our show. Right now, we are streaming on Tales from the Field on Twitter, on Josh Ludeman, on Neeraj Jhaveri, on SQL Balls. On LinkedIn, we're streaming under SQL Balls. And also on our hub, of course, the YouTube channel itself. For Tales from the Field, we are streaming over there. If you make a comment on any one of our streams, one of my amazing co-hosts will see that. They will add it to the stream, and you will be part of the show. Speaking of those amazing co-hosts, I am joined by Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and more electric and exciting than a night out with Coach Beard at a discotheque. It is your friend and mine, Neeraj Jhaveri. And our good buddy Dan Taylor is online. Dan, I love chocolate too. I'm not gonna lie, Josh. I was a little disappointed when I saw your video. I was expecting that we were going to be able to actually get some chocolate, but that wasn't.
Well, I thought about coming back from the demo with like chocolate smears on my face just to add to the joke, but I figured no, let's keep it, on the up and up. Let's do it right.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been appropriate, at least. Oh, we've lost Andreas. I was about to kick it over to him. Andreas. Oh, it's too much for him. It's too much. The intro, the chocolate, his phone went chocolate. Yeah, I want some.
Adding the extra stuff here from Dan. Of course, our Piggy Stardust. Neeraj, right. Love it.
Hey, Andreas, you're back. Okay, so we're hitting a rhythm here. We've got 3 weeks in a row where we've got Monday MS Text Bits. Josh has his first video on the channel. Congratulations, Josh. Andreas, how was your weekend, buddy?
Weekend down here was a rain out. Pure rain down in South Florida. Tornadoes everywhere. But I was home safe with Josh offering more chocolate. I felt like when Sloth offered Chunk a chocolate bar, and he said, Chunk chocolate. I love chocolate. Thank you, Josh, for introducing us to Chocolatey. Yeah.
I was going to say, why is there no Chunk installer? There should totally be a Chunk installer.
Well, and actually I had some good interaction with one of our Microsoft MVPs who does a lot of work with Chocolatey. In fact, if I remember reading his bio correctly, I believe he's one of the software engineers at Chocolatey. Ooh. And one of the things I was thinking about, similar to what you say, Andres, is I was like, well, so if Chocolatey had the capability to do this whole thing where you would script a bunch of Chocolatey installations, is that a chunk?
That might be a chunk.
The chunk right there. The script I went over in the video, that could be a chunk of chocolate. Love it.
I was going to say, maybe we need some type of Goonies level adventure.
Hashtag chunk o choco.
The truffle shuffle.
I was going to say, where we could potentially have a Goonies level adventure this weekend, folks. It is here, SQL Saturday, Jacksonville. On Friday, there's going to be a pre-con. Myself, Neeraj, Daniel Taylor. We're going to be up in Jacksonville teaching a fundamental DBA 101, a day of fundamentals. And there's also a pre-con by Bob Ward. There's on SQL Server 2022. There's a pre-con by Ginger Grant on Azure Synapse Analytics. so many wonderful things, but the greatest thing is that all of us are together at
Yeah.
Jacksonville. This is going to be the first time that all 5 of us have been in one place since we started the channel.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was even going to say all 5 of us in one place ever, really. I mean, because the 4 of us have been together, I think, before, but
No.
with Dan in the mix as well,
Yeah.
not all 5 of us ever. Like,
No, I think Andreas also, we have never met in person. It's just 3 of us who have met in person.
oh, that's true.
Yep. So Dan and Andreas will be the first time we'll be meeting.
This is awesome.
That's right. I'm so excited about this, and we have so many sessions that we are delivering at SQL Saturday Jacksonville on Saturday. It's going to be a day of just learning and education. Some of us are scheduled at the same time because I'm looking forward to going and sitting in on some of y'all's sessions when I'm not giving sessions myself. I've got 2 that I'm delivering on Saturday. And then Neeraj, I think you are teaming up with just about everybody. I want to say you're in like 5 or 6.
I have 4. Sorry, I have 4 with one with you, Brad, one with Josh, and 2 with Andreas.
Wow.
And then
That doesn't sleep.
one of the other things they're doing great at SQL Saturday Jacksonville is they're actually doing similar to what has been done in previous years at the past summit. They're actually doing a SQL clinic. I'm taking a shift there at the end of the day. There's some other stuff going on too. So yeah, there's going to be lots of opportunities to see, lots of folks from the community. Definitely if you're at the event, say hi to one of us. We may or may not have a sticker to give out, possibly. Yeah, I was hinting at that. I'm like just calling Brad off the cuff here.
There we go. Those are the stickers, folks.
Nice.
I was going to say, come up to us. We're going to have them, and we will have them in our sessions to be able to give them away. Dan is super excited for this weekend to be with friends. I agree. So little throwback. My first ever SQL Saturday Jacksonville was a road trip with Dan Taylor, Kendall Van Dyke, and also Karen Lopez. And we picked people up along the way. So Dan drove, he's in Brandon. He drove up to where I lived at the time in Lakeland, hopped in the car with me. I drove up to Orlando. We picked up Kendall. Then we drove over to the Space Coast because Karen was there for a NASA astronaut tweet up for one of the launches. And we picked her up over in the Space Coast. We went up to Jacksonville, and it was just a great and fantastic day. I am super excited to be able to be around the community and have this. It's always a good time. I am super excited for our plans Friday night, though.
Dan and I are doing a little mini road trip. So Dan's coming over to my house, and then we're gonna jump in the car and head up. So that should be fun. If you see any toilet paper or weird things flying out of a vehicle on its way up 95, that's probably us.
I was going to say my plan is actually to meet up with you and Dan at the Buc-ee's, and then my Tesla is going to follow your Tesla all the way up.
Yeah, I figured that'd be a good place to stop, get some beef jerky, and head on up.
It was Buc-ee's. It's beef jerky. You got to get some of that brisket. Oh, I mean, they've got fudge. They've got cookies.
Well, there's the other thing there that I would recommend, but not to you, Brad, because I'm pretty sure there's enough sugar that you would actually not even end up in a diabetic coma, but just strictly dead. Is they make a cinnamon roll with it's like a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick of frosting on it. It would not be good for you, but my God, it is a thing of beauty. It's a work of art.
So I'm just going to put my car behind your car, and I'm going to set the car to autopilot so I can pass out after eating the cinnamon roll, and then maybe wake up around Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, and it's huge too. It's like bigger than a hockey puck and just white from.
That sounds fantastic. So we're talking about Buc-ee's. We're talking about SQL Saturday Jacksonville. We should probably get over to what the people actually came here for. So let's head over to the round table and to the community. Neeraj, I have you up first. You have the Plain English Guide to Data Warehousing plus examples.
Yep. So a good article by Shweta. The reason I brought this up was I was discussing with one of my customers last week about the different concepts of data warehousing. I mean, people are sometimes confused on what data warehousing is. Sometimes they mix it up with SQL transactional type systems, and it's always gets confusing, right? I mean, it's a whole difference between MPP and SMTP. So she wrote down a very generic one, very simple way how data warehousing works. I mean, what is data warehousing? I mean, she starts with what is data warehousing, very simple concept, benefits of having a data warehousing, and then she describes doing a data warehousing versus database and data warehousing versus data lake, and two different ways to do it. And then she shows all the types of data warehousing in there. So very nicely written down article, something for, I would say, starting with 100 200 level of data warehousing concepts, to just clear the concept before you start building your data warehousing.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. And
Love it.
here's the thing: you always got to keep in mind there are always new people coming in into the technology, and people often think, "Oh, this concept is too basic." But the fact is, none of us were born learning this. We all learned this along the way, and it's important for us to continue to make sure that we've got these entry level topics for folks to be able to join into the community, to be able to find that easy ramp on. And that is a wonderful article to be able to explain a lot of different concepts.
Yeah, talking to someone at a SQL Saturday years ago when they were talking about, always do sessions that are top of mind for you. Never look at a topic and go, well, that's something I've known since day one. And don't discount that, because every day is someone's day one, right?
Yeah.
Someone is in the middle of their day one and will find value in that content.
Agreed.
I love it. Good stuff. So I'm up next. I've got Mahunti Tripta, and they blogged how to create a link server from Azure SQL from SQL Server to Azure SQL Database. The reason I have this blog is I have a customer where literally we had this exact situation, and it was one of the things where you're in a call and I'm trying to explain a concept and I don't think it's landing very well. And I was so thankful that this blog was written, because if it had not been, I was going to stop and write it, because I needed some screenshots to be able to show someone. And the key thing to keep in mind is, yeah, you can create a link server from SQL Server to Azure SQL Database, but you have to keep in mind that the context of the connection in Azure SQL Database is specific to the database. So for example, they connected and they could get to master and they could extend that. They could see the system tables, the system objects, but they couldn't see the system objects in any other database. Well, the reason is in Azure SQL Database, you have a logical SQL server. And when you connect to master, your context is scoped specifically to that database. And that's how the connection context is scoped. And so I needed them to connect directly to that database. And in order to do so, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you actually fill out other data sources instead of SQL Server. It might be a little non-intuitive, but what you need to do is you need to be able to say, hey, here's my data source and here's my catalog. And by catalog, we're talking database. Once you fill that out, you're going to be able to link. And as you can see in the screenshot, they're able to extend the database and be able to see the different objects within them. This is part of a migration that they're doing. And so that was something that was really key from them, from a concept. And again, it's a great, simple concept that folks just need to know.
Nice.
Andreas, I have you up next, opening the eyes of the machine, computer vision with auto ML part 1.
Cool.
Oh, this is going back to what Josh had said. If you're getting into computer vision, this is your step one, in my opinion. Of all the articles I've read, all the documentation I've read on computer vision, this is a great, intro. Will shoot you out of the cannon, get you started, and really zero to hero in an hour or two. What Gavita and Dan Lantos talk to us about here is they give us a great intro. They talk to us about how computer vision is becoming more and more integrated into our lifestyle. The market is ripe. There's more investment going into AI. There's more, the devices are getting smaller and faster, which makes it easier to get into computer vision AI. And we're seeing this in tons of scenarios: finance for insurance companies, healthcare for analyzing, images and cancer in cells, manufacturing for preventative maintenance and safety, retail for customer, behaviors when they go through a store. Transportation's another big area. Oh, agriculture. How if are the leaves, is the crop actually dehydrated? Does it need more water? Is it are there too many bugs? Biodiversity, scenarios where we can track animals and do and see how they migrate and their migration patterns. The list goes on and on. One of my favorite areas is actually fitness, and their NFL teams and soccer teams are doing more of this. They're tracking to see how their bodies are positioned throughout the phase of a game. If they're, if their strides are efficient, if their body's efficient. So they're doing a lot of work when it comes to computer vision with fitness. Then they give us the cherry on top, and they move over and they show us a step-by-step guide through the process of using AutoML and the capabilities and how to set up, take an image set, train it, build out that model, put it in Onyx format. Why we want Onyx format is because then we can deploy it on multiple devices, and it doesn't matter. The device accepts it. Voila. I just need a camera on top of that device, and I can do some object detection, classification, segmentation. 0 to hero. Please watch this as your first step. Read this as your first step to computer vision AI.
Yeah, in that, actually looking at this and in hearing you talk about it reminds me of a project that we actually did during the hackathon, I believe a couple of years ago. A couple of the members of the Fast Track team, but also within Microsoft, is working with the U.S. Olympic women's weightlifting team and work with them on an AI model to actually, it would in real time tell them what they were doing wrong in their lifting form, and draw lines along their posture and position, and then change the color of the lines based off of if that alignment of their posture was how degree of off it was. Green, obviously you were on. Yellow, you were a little off. Red, you needed to correct something in your form. So computer vision has a lot of cool aspects to that it can do and add. Classifying videos was another one I've seen that used by some customers, classifying the video based off of what the person was doing in the video, to kind of bin things out. So yeah, it's a lot of neat stuff.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's where the cool kids hang out nowadays. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, and it's got so many applications with real life. I mean, there's so many different places where we are using vision AI. I mean, look no further than if you've ever been in a car accident and you need to take a picture of something to get it to the insurance adjuster, or if you've ever taken a check and you've deposited it by taking a picture of it. What do you think we're using there? Computer vision AI. I mean, there's so many little practical places within our lives where this technology is already in use, and the application of technology is only limited by our imagination. It's really great stuff. I love that article, Andreas. Good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Josh, I believe I have you up next. You have optimizing Postgres for heavy write workloads and checkpoints, featuring checkpoint and write-ahead logging configurations from CitusCon 2023.
Yeah, so all the the talk we had a couple of weeks ago at the round table, here comes CitusCon, the conversation at the table. We're in CitusCon last week, and now just wanted to kind of bookmark that on the end. This is a great on-demand session by Samay Sharma, an engineering manager on the Azure Postgres, well, really the Postgres open source team at Microsoft. Just talking through write-heavy workloads and how checkpoint and write-ahead log configs, how you can tune them and how to set them and monitor it and even adapt the configs to your Postgres instance. So just a great deep session. Brad, this was an homage to you, my friend, who loves the internals. We were getting in, when I started watching this one, I was like, Brad would love this. Deep in the internals, talking about write-ahead log configurations and things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, got to feature this one. Brad needs it.
I was going to say, you're not wrong. You had me at write-ahead logging. I was like, oh, I'm in. Yeah.
CitusCon had a lot of good videos. I mean, I was watching a couple of them. They are good videos.
Agreed.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff came out of there. And speaking of great stuff, up next, I have Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri with change data capture. Capture change data from your Cosmos DB analytical store.
So this is in preview right now. I mean, Mark is giving you a whole example how to do it. Change data capture. which I mean, it's public preview. I mean, it's not really GA right now, so you can use it up also with different SLAs. The reason I brought this up was the capability, right? I mean, it efficiently can help you consume the chain data capture and continuously do your ETLs on your analytical store of it. I mean, a lot of customers have been asking this up. I mean, he goes over all the steps how to do it, along with some sample codes, not a sample code, but some sample pictures in there that he shows up saying this is how you have to do the whole change data capture. I mean, really nicely written down, helping the customers to do change data capture in the whole scenarios. I mean, something I had a customer who just asked me up, I sent it his blog and he was able to do it himself. So that helps.
Fantastic. I love it. Great stuff. Always nice to see a Mark Cromer blog on there as well.
Oh yeah.
Mark's a good dude. All right. So I am up next. I have Datatray Sindel. And so this is another, so I was working on a script. I was actually loading some data that I'm going to be using for the video that drops tomorrow. And I was updating and refreshing some of the data from the Layham database. I should have thrown a link up for that. Maybe I'll remember to do that next time. Sean Layham is a baseball journalist, and he has put together this great baseball database that has all the statistics going back into the 1800s, which allows us to be able to do a lot of fun real life scripts, demos. There are R packages based off of this data to be able to help facilitate people learning data science. So many great things to be able to do with that data. But one of the things I was doing is I was loading this into Azure SQL Database, but Azure SQL Database doesn't have one of my favorite built-in reports. It doesn't have the standard report for top table by disk usage that tells you the tables, the number of rows, the amount of size it's taking up. So I needed to find that. I know I've got a script somewhere that does it, but instead of searching my drive, I just went, hey, there's probably somebody online who's got a really great blog about this. Entered this blog. What I love is not only did Datatray show us how to be able to do it one way by using catalog views and using sys partitions and sys objects. This is typically how I do it. But then they took another approach and said, let's look at SysDM DB partition stats and view database state. And then they took a look at how to be able to get this using the SPMS for each table system stored procedure. And then they showed how to be able to get this using the coalesce function with sys objects and using schema name. So I thought really, really great and very inventive way to do this multiple different ways and to be able to get this the same output you're looking for. But I know there was a T-SQL Tuesday last month that was largely about how you can have fun with the script. And I thought, what a great way to do that. Not only can you do it one way, you can do it multiple ways. So really, really cool blog. And I just wanted to throw that one out there.
Nice.
All right. So next up, I have Andreas. And Andreas, you have building a startup with Azure Computer Vision.
More computer vision. So Nikhil, all right, this is a great video by Nikhil Segal. And what he takes us through in about, at top speed, 20 minutes, you can get everything you want out of there. About what is the computer vision cognitive services feature, how to set up a Python file to log in, key in, and get the capabilities out of that API. But what I really found great about this video is he shows us how to optimize it and make it performant. He tells us midway through the video, he's like, don't send in all the frames. You're not supposed to send in all the frames. So what he shows us is in a real scenario, and what they're doing is they're taking images and videos from guys who go into houses and they actually, do something bad to those houses. And it does detection and says, hey, is there something going wrong in this video? And he walks us through that video. It's a security, the scenario security base, but he shows us how to grab the frames, then feed them into the API, get back a prediction and tell us, is there anything wrong going on in any of the frames that we feed in, so that your inference is as performant as possible. But then he finishes it off and he tells us how to integrate this whole life cycle, going back to the API, getting back the inference, and then combining it maybe with Ring, maybe with Twilio, maybe with ChatGPT. And he takes us through all those different scenarios So the possibilities are endless. That's why it's called building a startup. Easy to get into, send some images into the API, into the Cog services, get back some imprints. But now how do I tie that into a much more robust solution? How do I tie that into logic apps? How do I tie that into a function app? And he shows us how to do that. That's the true power of this video.
That's going to be cool.
That's amazing. You know what? I'm wearing a T-shirt and it's got a combination of Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, and the Flash. I don't even need them. I just need some Vision AI in my life. That sounds fantastic. I love it.
I don't know if you haven't been listening to Andres, but that's all you need in your life, period, is a little bit of computer
and some money.
Apparently.
That's the answer to everything.
And a dog.
Yeah, you need a dog.
Yeah, gotta.
I'm fine with it. No,
see, Josh is only saying Josh is only saying this because Josh has a dog. Josh has an adorable dog. I love Josh's dog, Coco,
is
little
something special.
chocolate lab. Oh yeah, and oh my goodness, when you come over, she barks the most ferocious. As soon as I walk in the house, I'm like, "That's right, give me Coco. You got it." She's like, and she's barking, and then she just literally her back end wags her whole body as she comes up to you. All she wants is love.
And then once you pet her,
like
she sits down and suction cups herself to your leg or your hip, and you've now made a lifelong friend.
I thought you were a cat.
She has all kinds of facial reactions too. The girl set up an Instagram page for the many faces of Coco. It's quite hilarious.
That's great. That is funny. My favorite thing that I've ever seen happen is so I'm over there. She falls asleep with her head on Josh's chest. She farts, wakes herself up, barks at it, and then realizes nobody's petting her and immediately like sticks her hand under Josh's hand and starts like bobbing his hand up and down.
Oh yeah. She's an exceptional character, exceptional member of the family for sure.
She is. So Josh, I've got you up next. Speaking of,
yes,
with chocolatey packages.
Yeah. So this was actually came out of the video we dropped on Monday, my video about using Chocolatey to set up a workstation. And we actually were able to get visibility and have a conversation on Twitter with one of the senior software engineers at Chocolatey, Gary Park, who offered up some interesting things, recommendations and even suggestions for what I offered. So I'm actually going to be doing that this weekend, probably during a session or in between sessions at SQL Saturday Jacksonville, is actually converting his suggestions to issues on the repo. But what I shared here was a script Gary actually shares where he actually configures his entire Git environment, and he's made his own Chocolatey package to install a few different things and run these post-deployment scripts. So he gave this example as, what he does to configure his Git environment, but used it as a recommendation, on how to configure Kubernetes client, which is one of the things I do in there, and actually had in my PowerShell script some things to do post-deployment. And he goes, no, wait. You can actually do that and just build your own Chocolatey package to wrap that all up and then do that. So I wanted to share this just for the script for what he does for Git config. But if you actually go up a couple of folders to his repo called Chocolatey packages, he's doing all kinds of great things in there with Chocolatey, Git config, unit testing, all kinds of stuff that you can do with Chocolatey and packages that he's built, Choco packages for doing things. So it's just a great source of information there.
Very nice.
Gary, for
Very nice.
his commenting on the video.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. And I love seeing the interaction. Like I looked at my phone at one point in time during the night, and I'm like, why do I have like 20 tweets that I need to look at? And a good portion of them was his. So fantastic stuff. I absolutely love that.
Mm-hmm.
Neeraj, I've got you up next. You've got best practices for Purview and a federated way of working.
So I just brought this up because I don't think that we ever brought out anything about Purview in any of the meetings. So this was something that I wanted to bring out. It was called Azure Purview, and now it's called Microsoft Purview, which is the data governance tool for Microsoft. So very nicely written blog where he goes over what the whole architecture of it and how you can do the whole setup of it, like do the glossaries, lineage, collections, and all the data sets in there. One of the reason is data mesh architecture is very common right now. A lot of people are trying it out, and that is something that Purview can definitely help you out to get through your data mesh architecture. So very nicely written down blog. I mean, a little bit longer blog, but he has given a very detailed things on it, on how to set this whole thing up in Purview
No,
or Microsoft
I was
Purview
gonna
now.
say, I love it. I love the images. I love taking people through the concept and then delivering this all the way down. This is great stuff. This is very, very, very nice, Neeraj.
Well, in Purview is growing to be a more important part of all of our enterprise lives. I mean, because Purview, from the data management, data security standpoint, you took, Neeraj, as well, but the other half of Microsoft Purview is all the information security and functionality and information management piece within Office 3 or Microsoft 365 as well. So it's become such this huge product that, yeah, it's going to touch just about everything you do. I mean,
Yeah.
we share emails all the time internally. They get information classifications through Purview, and then looking at reporting where it's tied into the data catalog in Microsoft Purview as well, and data security controlled by it. So,
but I got to tell you, I like it because there are times that we're doing internal initiatives and I'm making Power BI reports to be able to send out to other people within our organization. And I love it that that classification is there, because there are times I have to stop and I have to go, this information I'm sending out, what level do I need to classify it? And I'm really thankful that that step is there before I go and share it, to make sure that we're covered and we're doing things properly.
oh yeah, because it's great that it controls it, but for me, one of the things it's enabled in really pushes behavior, just for what you said, Brad. Stop and think.
Think, yeah.
Mm.
I think a lot of it historically, what we've done is like a run and gun. And now data is being such a keystone part of everything everyone does, that just that step of stopping to think is hugely
Yes.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talking about stopping to think, I'm up next, and I have the 8KB 2023 schedule and registration by our friend Andrew Persky. And one of the things I want to say is that if you have a chance, you definitely want to check out the 8KB conference. Even if you cannot attend this when it is live, sign up, register, go and take a look at these recordings. This conference is a very organic one that's been put together, but they always just do a fantastic job of having wonderful events. And I realized that my Zoom it is not on, so I'm going to make you wait while I open up Zoom it, because I really want to point out that Hugo Cornelius is giving us a session. Not only is he giving us a session, the levels that they have for 8KB are 300, 400, 500, and then 8192, because that's an 8KB byte right there. And what it is that is your deep dive. And your deep dive is debugging without the debugger, investigating SQL servers, internal structures. Super excited to see this for Hugo. But also we've got a wonderful lineup. Sander Stand, Subai Pakra, Josephine Bush, and our good friend Tayab Ali. Tayab, who's absolutely amazing, runs the user group up in Boston. Love Tayab. What the heck is a checkpoint, and why should I care? I'm excited for every single one of these. So what you should do is, he's got in this blog, he's got his link to 8KB. You can go over there and you can register. It is a free conference to register for. So it's not going to cost you a dime to be able to go and look at this super deep and amazing level information. And I want to encourage everybody to go out there, root for these great community members that are delivering this super deep content to us, and patronize this event. It's a wonderful event, and I'm so glad that they do that for the community.
Agreed. So happy to see Hugo.
Agreed. It's fantastic. Up next, Andreas, I have you, and you've got bring all your workloads to the edge with AKS Edge Essentials, now generally available.
Yeah, generally available. AKS on the Edge. Great post by Jason Farmer. It went generally available back in March. I wanted to make note of it because AKS is everywhere. We're using AKS to manage servers, applications, everything, pretty much anything on-prem and in the cloud. Now, what if I could extend that to smaller devices? What if I could expand that to edge nodes? What if I could manage those devices and those applications on those devices with a small footprint Azure Kubernetes instance, and do that and manage those containers that live in those devices, and do that all through AKS. So we can do that now. And they showcase how that went generally available and what it takes to go and grab the power of AKS Edge and deploy that onto our edge devices.
Very nice. Good stuff. Great. I love that. Last but not least, we have Josh Ludeman. And Josh, what a sweetheart you are, buddy. I really appreciate this. This was kind to you. This makes up for all those times that you had, disqualified me. We're even now. We're good.
Oh.
Yeah. So honestly, with all sincerity, I mean, there's a lot of great things, and when we sat down and brought up the idea of we should do a community roundtable, it was to feature folks who are doing things in the community, shine a spotlight on folks who are doing a lot, shine a spotlight on folks who are getting started. So when this blog post dropped actually this week on the Fast Track for Azure blog, I definitely wanted to put a spotlight on this, Brad, to show, feature you to the community as someone who does great things, because I think you do a great job of showing everybody else. This is your turn to shine, my friend. And this is a great post digging into, and like I picked on Brad just actually in my, in my earlier post about internals. This gets really into monitoring deadlocks. And if you've gone to any session of Brad's or seen the passion that he puts into internals and even in deadlocks here, this was just another great post that went through the whole kit and caboodle, and really how to monitor them and get into them and in depth. So definitely recommend this reading for any SQL Server DBA from associate to database architect. Definitely.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to put this together, and it was nice because we'd already done the video back in February on this subject, and so we've got that on the channel. But basically, what we do is we walk through all the concepts. So if this is something you're interested in, that's a great one. I don't know about that, Dan. That's asking a bit much. Kind of smart. I heard he failed the Cracker Barrel test. So he left a couple of those golf tees in the triangle. That should be like one of those. He's a couple golf tees shy of an empty triangle. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, I guess it's time to wrap things up. And I should stop talking. That's what I should do. Except there's a couple things that I'm going to plug. Now, we've already talked about SQL Saturday Jacksonville, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you are in the Jacksonville area, you don't want to miss this event. There are going to be so many amazing people from Microsoft, from the community, MVPs who are going to be in Jacksonville. Come see us as part of our pre-con, or come check out Bob Ward. Come check out Ginger Grant. It's going to be a great time. Friday is the pre-con day, Saturday, and it is free. All you got to do is go over to SQL Saturday Jacksonville and sign up. They are so close to going on a wait list, so you want to make sure that you get your spot before they are waitlisted. You don't want to miss out on that. But here we are. We are in the month of May. It's going to be May, right? Mm-hmm. And what time is it? Well, at the end of this month, we've got Build. Microsoft Build is coming. I'm not sure if the registration is open. I would imagine that it is. But the virtual Build is going to be free for anybody who wants to sign up for that. I would encourage people to do so. I know I personally am super excited because whenever we look at our big conferences, there's always the potential that there could be a really nice announcement. There could be some cool stuff. I know that we've got some cool things coming up that week that we have yet to announce that we're going to start plugging. But we have a couple 1-hour live sessions with program managers, principal program managers from the Synapse product group to be able to talk about some of the things that are coming out of Build. You're not going to want to miss those. We're going to have those at very special times. We're going to have one on a Tuesday. We're going to have one on a Thursday. And so you will not just get our roundtable on Tuesday, but you're going to get our roundtable and you're going to get 1 hour with us and the Synapse.
Wow.
And then on Thursday, we're going to meet with them again because I don't think 1 hour was enough. They didn't think 1 hour was enough. We need to make sure that we get the word out to folks. It's going to be a good time. And also, we don't know yet. We haven't gotten word that we're on the schedule, but Josh, it's time to start making some plans to go to where?
It's that time, Brad. It's that time for Live 360 at the beautiful, picturesque Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort on the luscious grounds of Universal Studios Orlando at the most beautiful time of year in Florida, November.
I know it. So start planning your trip, folks. The week before Thanksgiving. What a wonderful time. Take 2 weeks off, right? Take that week off. Take that week of Thanksgiving. Spend time with the family on Thanksgiving week. You're going to be at somebody's house. You're going to be stuck eating, food and stuffing that you probably don't really care for unless you're cooking yourself, in which case it's great. But go
Take 2
somewhere
weeks off.
and treat yourself the week before that. You got to go to family's house. You got to go eat the typical food and have the great food that they have all around City Walk, that they have at the different hotels. Stay at the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort. Come and learn with us and with other folks from Microsoft, MVPs. They are going to have an amazing lineup. The Voodoo Donuts, they got a bacon covered donut. It is just going to be fantastic.
Even if we don't get selected, Josh is going to be there by default.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm going. I'm going to go hang out with people.
No, he's going to be invited just to speak up.
Oh yeah, yeah. I plan on doing the live remote, and stuff like that.
Intro to
on the page. One of these days, I'm gonna get some kind of respect for this. I hope.
Nice. Well, and a quick reminder, this week we dropped the content setup windows with Chocolatey for data developers in seconds, but Mr. Josh Ludeman. And then tomorrow I will be dropping building a dynamic data factory pipeline in Azure Synapse Analytics. We're going to be doing it hot. Yeah, dropping it like it's hot, dropping it like it's dynamically hot.
Hey.
There we go. And also don't forget, next Tuesday, we will be back here for our community roundtable. If you have content, we would love to hear from you so we can feature you on the show.
Please.
Yeah.
Please hit us up on the Twitter account. When you're posting blog posts, tag our Twitter account so that, help us find you. I mean, we all work really hard trying to find content during, the week. And, we know we can't do it enough justice on our own. Help us help.
Mm-hmm.
Help us help you.
Help you.
Well, I wasn't even going to say just them. Help us. If you know somebody who's doing great things, retweet their blogs, tag us in the retweet. Help us help. Whoever, you, them.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Help us help.
You got it. All right. I think that's everything. Are we good?
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think so.
Have a great week, everybody, and an even better weekend. We will see you at Jacksonville.
Just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight.